Because if you were to believe that culture and religion are organic, constitution is rarely organic. At least in the context of Bharat, I would say the constitution's history is not at all organic. It is as synthetic as it gets, it is as top-down as it gets, it is as imposed as it could get. And I say this equally of the Constitution of 1950. And when that happens, in relation to a document which is bound to, which is intended to, which is by design expected to have an all-encompassing effect, then it obviously has a direct bearing on the destiny of the civilization itself, on your ability to say a few things, on your ability to actually prove a few things, on your ability to reclaim a few things, on your ability to speak the truth on the basis of facts. Because the Constitution, while it enables free speech, also imposes several filters, express and unspoken, both. And I basically wanted to break free of those filters. So most people sometimes assume, perhaps he's a loose cannon who doesn't have a political filter, who doesn't have a filter when he speaks. I can say this confidently. Almost everything that I've said, I've thought it through. Not that I'm always right. I'm not saying I'm always right. At the very least, I know what exactly I'm saying and why I'm saying it. If my positions have changed, it's because I may have read better, or somebody may have told me, sorry, you're wrong, read this literature better. So for instance, my own position on Dr. Ambedkar has evolved over the last 3.5 years, at the very least, and I've said this openly on public platforms. And sometimes it is important for somebody to kick that door open, because all the time you see only an incremental push. I think once in a while, history or Kal or Vidhi presents an opportunity to punch your way through certain positions. Or it forces you to punch, simply because if you don't, then your position becomes, how do I put it? You will be forced to tie yourself down to that particular position. You will be told you never made your position clear in the past. So it's like this. Assume for a moment that there is one person who slapped once, who chooses to be silent about it. He slapped again by the same person. He chooses to be silent about it. The 10th or the 15th time, the slapper gets to blame the slappee. Tum chup rahe the, main kya karu? You were silent all this while. You should have said it before. Where is the resistance? Ask lawyers, they'll tell you the concept of adverse possession of property is no different. You keep your mouth shut for 12 years when somebody's occupied your property, he gets to say, you never raised a little finger in resistance. That's the end of the matter. That's how the law works. I'm applying the very same logic when it comes to articulation, ventilation, and expression of opinions on Constitution and inherent biases within the Constitution and imposed biases on the Constitution both. And one of the reasons, despite what I've said so far, I rarely have people found the guts to take me legally, is because at the very least I'll have something or the other to throw at them in terms of document. 3, the reason why I speak of judicial intervention is to address the aspect of imposed biases, where the human agent who's tasked with the obligation or the responsibility of looking into that particular document brings her, his, or his, her, they, them, whatever biases, okay, to the document. I am not per se against any identity, so please don't mistake that sarcasm for a problem with any particular identity. I have a problem with imposed identities, or in terms of language impositions. I'm not particularly comfortable with it. And I certainly don't think the West needs to teach us anything about respecting non-binary gender identities. We have always done so. So you can take your garbage and go to some other place. I'm the last person who's interested in consuming this. And I've said this, in fact, publicly once. I might as well repeat it very clearly. I'm never going to subscribe to this pronoun nonsense ever. My LinkedIn profile will never say his, him, and all that. You can see it. It's okay. Relax. So the point I'm trying to perhaps make is these layers within the Constitution, the nexus between the Constitution and civilization, have not received the unpacking that has long been waiting. And the hope is that someone who is interested in the civilization and is reasonably trained in the Constitution, and who understands how judicial intervention works on a day-to-day basis, actually brings it out. So it is long due. So there have been instances where you have fantastic people, both from the English-speaking circles and the non-English-speaking circles, who have done a fabulous study of the Constitution. So there is perhaps an 18-volume treatise written by Sri Devendra Swarup in Hindi on the Constitution.